Kazakh wave is not differentiation, but it has force of unification, not only Kazakhs, but other nations. We need to find not the source of conflict, we need to find source of unity. This is one of our main targets currently. I would like to say that for me, identity is all about open-mindedness. Kazakhs could preserve this vast territory, not because of their war spirit, military spirit, but because their ability to be diplomatic.
Welcome to the Astana Times YouTube channel. We are at the Forte Kulanchi art space to talk with Sandugash Beisenbekova, the founder of the exhibition Shyraq. Let's find out what she has to say. Hello, Sandugash. I'm very happy to be here. I visited this exhibition twice. Very honored to be here and interview you. Can you tell us a little bit about this installation? Because it captured the attention of many people and, invited interesting conversation. So,
first of all, I'm honored that you are interested in our project. Shyraq exhibition was created in support of Shyraq project. This is social business. I founded company Shyraq in 2023. This installation is actually encapsulates the role of rugs in our society. So we devote this installation to one of our artisans, Aknur. She's around 33 years old, and she waved the rugs and tapestries from young age, but her grandmother was against that. And why is that? She was one of those immigrants in early 30s who left Kazakhstan during famine. But her private story, very sad story, inspired us to do this installation to mark and to give a tribute to all rug wavers who lived in our country. This installation also give tribute to the role of women
in the society. Sandugash, my question is about creative industries. Our government, our president, made a very extensive focus on developing creative industries very recently. And I know that you have been working in the corporate sector before, creating and opening and founding this beautiful exhibition. Can you tell us first a little bit about yourself? And then I will ask you other questions.
So my name is Sandugash Beisenbekova. I have background from corporate side and from academia. I worked as investment banker at European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, the second largest investor in Kazakhstan. It has operations in more than 36 countries in the world, in Central Eastern Europe, MENA region, Northeastern Africa, Central Asia, and Mongolia. I have exposure in infrastructure sector, healthcare, general industry. After 11 years at the bank, I changed my area of interest and I did my PhD at Nazarbayev University. I studied public policy, and my vision was to explore how government policies are implemented and how come that we have very interesting programs and vision, but at the implementation, something doesn't work. So my main study was related to this area. And I think this history of this company is interrelated with my background, both in the corporate world and academia, because I look at this not just project or just business. For me, it's more development project, social project, because the mission of Shyraq is twofold. From one side, we would like to revive Kazakh cultural heritage as rugmaking. And from other side, a social project. As you know, 50% of population live in rural areas. And we have this issue of domestic violence. Domestic violence often is related to the financial independence of women. So our main target is to find out old ladies, we call it apashka, and ask them to teach young ladies for this art. As you know, in early 90s, the border of Kazakhstan opened. Import of Turkish and Chinese rock inflow had happened. And most ladies didn't feel in demand. Mm-hmm. They feel outskirts and outliers. After 30 years, those ladies who were 30s or mid-40s, now they're around 70s and 60s. And I always make a joke, but there is a truth there, that if you leave, we will lose our heritage. Mm-hmm. So our mission is to keep and pass over this tradition of beautiful rug-making tradition to younger generation.
What made you to actually change the area of your interest and found this Shyraq company? Mm-hmm. Maybe there was some, I don't know, situation, or you felt some, something deep in your soul that something's missing in your life.
Okay, so I think there are three reasons for this. First of all, I'm country girl. I was born in Aul, in countryside, and my ancestors were shepherds. Mm-hmm. I always joke that every other resident of penthouse in Highville is came from village of offspring of shepherd. We all know how owls in current modern world, how they are integrated or poorly integrated. So for me is important thing to integrate a rural area lifestyle to the modern world. And art is one of them. And I think my background, being academic person and being corporate world person, gives this beautiful chance to use my knowledge, my experience, even my networking opportunities, mm-hmm. To channel it to the market. And I have deep personal reason for this. Every summer, when I was 13 or 15 years old, my parents would send me to my grandparents who live in rural areas, and we would do all this rug making. Mm-hmm. But at that time, it was felt making, and it was painful process actually. And I always ask myself why we are doing this. But now 25 years passed. My grandma passed away. And for me, it's a special connection to my grandparents, I guess. When I communicate with these ladies who work in our company, I learn a lot, not about techniques, not about production process, but also about our heritage. We joke, we speak, we share our stories. They share about Kazakh traditions, Kazakh heritage, Kazakh legends. And it's really important. In our modern world, especially in turbulent world, and especially in era of deepfake, AI, and digital world, sometimes we need to go back to our roots and ground. And I think this type of art and this type of business give you this chance and this opportunity to find your pillars, I guess. We live in material world. Mm-hmm. And rug making, for me, it's not all about business, but it's also spiritual rooting or spiritual grounding.
I think it's when people create something like that, mm-hmm. that takes time, takes patience, it kind of lures you into a meditative state.
Absolutely. Rug making itself is long and labor-intensive process. For instance, in old times, the rug with size of 2 meters to 3 meters would be woven by 3 ladies for 2 months at least. And for instance, in oil canvas painting, the artist would always have opportunity to correct, to polish something. But in rug making, it's not possible. You start from the down and you go up, and there you need to be really focused and really know and alert what you're doing.
And you said that you've mentioned during the exhibition when you were presenting that you use the tin foil because tin foil is very fragile, but at the same time it's very shiny material. Can you tell us why?
First of all, this installation encapsulates sad and darkest pages of our history about famine, when Kazakhs moved and immigrated to Afghanistan or China or Turkey for better life. And there were times when rock was a source for living. And these 7 rocks tell story about family who lost one of their daughter when they tried to find better way. It also represents the social aspect in our society. Kazakh says, "Жайнап-жыр, жарқырап-жыр." Sometimes, not most cases, but sometimes, Kazakh woman is associated with decoration. It's not only in our society, but in general. As you know, in Afghanistan last week, they banned communication between women. So we are trying to say that women not only for decoration. As you know, foil is very delicate material, and if you within 1 second you can destroy this. And with foil we made figure of woman who is praying, and we are saying is that woman is not for decoration, but each woman has own soul, own pain, own story of family, and not every time we can see this pain.
Yes,
and we need
the burden.
And we need to be more empathetic and be more conscious about those who are more vulnerable and who are more delicate as this foil.
There's a saying, President Tokayev says about it. Other people talk about this, of Kazakh wave. What do you think about that? People talk about Dimash, people talk about 91, music industry. We have very talented film directors also.
Absolutely.
I'm not very keen on what's happening in our art world, but I'm sure after I've visited your exhibition twice, I've seen works by artists that you said are exhibited in different parts of the world and very revered by the public in Western countries, for example. And you've talked about our heritage. And as a citizen of Kazakhstan, I personally see it that we have such a depth of character as a nation, and we have a lot to offer to the world. So do you think there is Kazakh wave, and how important it is for us to actually really focus, not just say that we need to develop creative industries, but really focus our strength on this area?
I really admire a new generation of musicians in Kazakh pop music, and you mentioned about Dimash. I would add, by the way, Konrad FM and Moldanazar. I love this music. This year we attended OU Fest, this music festival, and I think this festival is happened third time or even fourth time. It was first music festival which was presented only by Kazakh performers from Kazakhstan, which was unique in a way, and mostly the average age of guests were 20s and 30s Zoomers. And for me, it was amazing when they sing with crowd all the songs in Kazakh, even other ethnic groups. And it represents what is happening in the society. There is a revival of identity, let's say. And for me, when we started this business, I inspired by this Kazakh music industry, Kazakh wave, because when we talk about identity, it's not only music. It's not only bishparmak and food we eat. It also the space and location where you live, where you work, where you contribute to the development of the society. And when I visit some offices or some residential areas in Astana or in Almaty, I feel a bit sorry that if you put this building and change to London or Paris, you wouldn't even notice that you are in other country. But I'm not sure that guests from Brazil or UAE would visit Kazakhstan for this minimalistic, non-characteristic, let's say, building or spaces. They want to learn something. Usually when you visit abroad, you always try to learn from the local industry or local community so that you can learn about yourself. And for me, Kazakh wave is not differentiation, but it has force of unification, not only Kazakhs, but other nations. And when we created this exhibition concept, we have in mind this, that Kazakh society is multicultural, diverse society. For instance, in this exhibition, we have masterpieces from Gagauz culture, which is Turkish language culture. We also have Uyghur rug, and it represents that Kazakh wave is not all about just separation, but it's about unity of the nation. From other hand, I really love this trend that identity is not something usually our granddads or aunts would say, you should learn Kazakh, you should speak Kazakh, you should have Kazakh clothes or wear. But it's something comes from the younger generation. Average age of our visitors is around 20s and 30s, and their interest, the level of their questions is amazing. It means they're interested in the history, they're interested in their cultural heritage.
Sandugash, I wanted to ask you about what do you think Kazakh identity should be in 21st century? Why I'm asking this question? Because I see a lot of, I call it Arabization. I'm not against it. It's a choice of a personal choice for women, for men. But I'm afraid that it's just my personal view that we have been trying to become a Homo Sovieticus long time ago. Now we're trying to become someone else. I'm afraid that we're not really realizing what kind of depth we have as Kazakh people, what kind of history we have, even like the way we dress, the way we present ourselves. So maybe you can, share your thoughts on how Kazakh should look like, think in 21st century.
I cannot say that we should be, or we live in this world where we have a variety of choices. But we would never become French or Arabic or American, because we have own code, own DNA. And I think the modern world is much more interconnected and interwoven as before. At the same time, there are a lot of risks and a lot of uncertainty there. And in order to be competitive in modern business and modern world and life, person should be open-minded. And it's not related only to the national identity, but identity of the person itself. And where we can get this reference, we can get this reference from our history, from our culture, from our artisan and artistic heritage. Our exhibition consists of 3 parts. First is memory, second is identity, and third is woman soul. When we talk about memory, we talk about our history, because without history, without your roots, you don't know who you are, you can't be confident, you can't be competitive. And therefore we have brief overview where we came from, what nations inhabited this vast territory, the biggest, largest territory as Kazakhstan. Without any access to science, technology, and knowledge, and books, and library. As you know, Kazakhs were nomads and nomadic civilization. In order to secure the mobility, they couldn't have access to these material things. And our essence of our strengths and essence of our power is non-material source, it's non-material spiritual forces. And in this section of identity of this exhibition, we talk about this. I would like to say that for me, identity is all about open-mindedness. It's all about knowing such values as integrity, as hope, as unity, and resistance. We would always have risks and wars. Humanity is an aggressive environment, let's say, sometimes. And in order to survive, in order to cooperate, in order to develop, we need to link all our heritage with our modern skills. And modern identity, as one of our artists, Bauzhan Doshanov, says, the modern warrior, let's say, in the competitive world, because business also can be considered as a war.
I think any industry is competitive.
Yeah, and for instance, big schools like MBA schools were founded as on the base of military schools in the US, as you know. So in contemporary world, in order to be competitive, our main weapon is knowledge, professionalism, skills, and soft communication. And Kazakhs could preserve this vast territory, not because of their war spirit, military spirit, but because their ability to be diplomatic sometimes, to be flexible. And I think this is main things which should be associated with Kazakh identity.
In terms of developing creative industries, do you think the government should support young artists, up-and-coming musicians, up-and-coming carpet weavers to revive Kazakh carpet weaving traditions, like you said?
Actually, government was also there in support of local artisans. There are government programs, public programs to support local artisans. Also, there are international donors who have worked for a while in Kazakhstan by supporting and showcasing Kazakh culture, not only in Kazakhstan, but in US or Europe or Asia, which is good trend. But since I have corporate world background, I think we need to balance between public expenditures and private investments. I think we need to balance and the business of creative industry, what government supports and what they launches is really important. And I'm really admired by government officials who raise these issues, discuss this issue. For instance, 2 months ago, I visited Almaty. There was a forum of creative industries organized by the STEP. And there they invited government officials from Astana and in Almaty, from Almaty, Akimat. And for me, it was amazing that first time both private and public partners discuss openly the issues we have in creative industries. And I think this is the direction we should move. And by the way, when we started this exhibition, I invited the Ministry of Culture because I think this is not only a private initiative, but also our government should know that their infrastructure and environment they created to support industries and artisanship, local artisans have own roots or own fruits. Yeah. For instance, they invited me to Majlis to discuss the draft on regulation of creative industries, which is happening this month. And I'm honored that they pay attention. They know that there are private initiatives and they want to involve in public discussions. So what I admire in this initiative is that it's not top to bottom approach. It's integrated approach, which is really, it represents long-term visionary approach of the current government.
And I think it shows how Kazakh people progressed a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
When they are not afraid to take the initiative,
absolutely,
take responsibility and
absolutely
actually implement something from A to Z. Mm-hmm. and actually open to the, working with the government? Because I think in our society, we often have these extremes where we're either against the government or we are against the private business when we, or we enter into any relationship in terms of collaborative process with preconceived notions.
Absolutely.
Without an open mind.
Yeah.
Which is, is great.
There is a perception that if you have government, you have overregulation, or if you have private sector, it should be always in isolation. Since I have background in public policy, for me it was interesting how we interact with the government-led policies. For me, it was a big honor that private sector, as Forte Bank, supported this initiative. But as we discussed earlier, for me also was interesting how public mass media supported this project. So there wasn't any government regulation or order just to cover this. By the way, this exhibition was opened just before festivities related to Day of Republic, and there was a big coverage. For us, it was a big gift and present not only for Astana citizens or people, but for the guests of the city to give a tribute to our cultural heritage. And how public supported us, how public perceived us was very fantastic. And it was such a wonderful event. And I would like giving this opportunity to thank your team especially for supporting and covering our project.
I enjoyed immensely the exhibition. I came here twice and I brought my mom and she was so inspired. My mom actually writes poems in Kazakh, so she's like inspired for the next few months, I think. I think my last question would be in this part of the interview about when we've talked with you about this exhibition, you said that you have plans to showcase it overseas. What's happening now? Can you share with us any details?
We have very good acceptance and reception from the public. We have long-term vision to showcase our cultural heritage, not only in Kazakhstan. Next, our steps is to visit Almaty, southern Kazakhstan. We have invitation from western Kazakhstan, Atyrau. We also would like to showcase our cultural heritage in Western Europe, most probably London, Paris, and Madrid. Now we have preliminary negotiations. Everybody knows about Persian, Turkmen, Azerbaijani rugs, but unfortunately, abroad, nobody knows about Kazakh rugs. And as we discussed earlier, the oldest rug which was found in planet is Pazyryk rug, was found in Altai region in the border between Russia, Mongolia, and Kazakhstan. And it is dated back to 5th, 6th BC. And this Pazyryk rug is located in Scythian top. And as you know, Kazakhstan mostly was populated by Sakha and Scythian tribes. Obviously, there are two discourses, as everywhere in the science, that this Pazyryk rug might be made by Persian or Akhaemenid civilization. And another discourse that this rug was woven by masters of Sakha and Scythian tribes. It should be investigated and explored more deeply. But what we are trying to say that rug making heritage is rooted not only from medieval age in Kazakhstan, but is rooted from the era of Sakhas or Scythian tribes. And we would like to showcase our rich cultural heritage to the world, because as offsprings of nomadic culture, it is important to discuss how we interweave and interconnected in the modern world. We are living in era of turbulence. We see and witness a lot of conflicts in different regions in terms of the religion, in terms of the ethnic groups. And we would like to discuss that there was a civilization, nomadic civilization, and how it shaped our culture and our way of life today, and how we can cope and move to the future. And we need to find not the source of conflict, we need to find source of unity. And this is one of our main targets currently. And I would like to thank your team and your management and you personally for your support, because as I know, as we all know, if you want to showcase this exhibition abroad, they first would check local mass media, and especially English-speaking mass media, and they would refer to this interview. And I am really honored that we are having interview such wonderful person as you, not only professional, but the person who is empathic, yeah, and also who understands the deepness of this issue. And our exhibition is all about not Kazakh rugs. It's about unity, love, and hope for better life, not for only Kazakhs, but for the world.
Thank you very much. And I wish you lots of success abroad
so much.
showcasing this exhibition. It's wonderful.
Thank you so much.